I would now like to invite Dr. Tom LeCarner, a member of our high school faculty and senior leadership capstone advisor, up to the podium to introduce our first student speaker.
You guys look good. So I'm here today to introduce our first student speaker, but she really doesn't need an introduction. But I insisted that I be the one to do it. When I think of her, a few words come to mind. Gracious, kind, passionate, courageous, and humble. And that list could go on. Over the last 4 years, I've watched her become a true leader in the face of tragedy, rising bravely to meet the challenges that life has dealt her and her family. And that feat alone has been remarkable. What sets her apart, however, is the fact that she has done all of this while also lifting up others, inspiring an entire community, and being the most genuine friend to so many of us. Her name translates from the Italian as gift from God. How fitting. I have been a teacher for 18 years, and I can say that it has been my greatest joy to be her teacher, her mentor, and her friend, and it is my distinct honor to welcome to the stage Giovanna Ruffolo.
It was quite an introduction. All right. I've been waiting for this moment for so many years. It was a beautiful summer morning in 2017. The sky was a gorgeous deep blue, scattered with soft white clouds, when I first arrived to Prospect Ridge Academy. Nervous, I looked at my mom in the driver's seat, who looked incredibly hopeful about this new and fresh beginning. Fidgeting with my cold and clammy hands, I sat in the passenger seat, completely unaware that the upcoming 4 years would be the most unexpected and life-changing 4 years of my life. Just 4 years ago, I came to this school as a childish, shy young girl knowing nobody. And 4 years later, I leave as an educated young woman, excited for the future, with a new family behind her, or in this case, in front of her. Prospect Ridge has done so much more than teach me the importance of literature and history, with the complex disciplines of science and mathematics. PRA has taught me one unforgettable life lesson that can quite literally change not only your life, but the lives around you, which is the significance of kindness, respect, and acceptance. As many of you know, in July of 2017, my life was turned upside down when my father was first diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. During that time, life grew increasingly difficult. Thinking that my father may never see my brother and I graduate from high school, while attending a new school I wasn't even familiar with, knocked me off my feet completely. To put it simply, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. I struggled about being hopeful for the future, and at times struggled to even find motivation. However, when I first entered those doors of Prospect Ridge, that weight soon began to disappear. I walked in those doors the first day alone and left with a few friends. The next day, I left with a group of friends. As time progressed, I developed relationships not only with my classmates, but upperclassmen, teachers, and staff. I was welcomed into PRA with open arms and gradually felt like I was becoming a part of something bigger than myself. It wasn't until the end of freshman year that I realized the power of selfless acts of kindness, and after a year of feeling the love, I began to brainstorm ways on how to give back to the PRA community. It came to me unexpectedly during the fall of my sophomore year, a blurred vision with a meaning and a reason. I shared this concept with the student council, who were incredibly supportive and encouraging. Out of all the meetings and brainstorming, Team Ruffolo was born. After publicly sharing my own deep and personal cancer journey, Team Ruffolo soon became a symbol of community, strength, and hope. Through Team Ruffolo, I had the opportunity to not only share my own cancer journey, but learn about the struggles of others. I met families who have gone through similar painful situations. I became a vocal advocate of those battling disease, and even had the opportunity to represent cancer patients, survivors, and victims across the country at a Broncos halftime performance, all while raising $4,000 for cancer prevention research. It was your love and support that gave me the confidence to continue pushing this idea forward. You all became the family I needed when my own family was trying to grapple with this gruesome disease. Without your support, I would not be here speaking in front of you today. So thank you all for everything you have done. Despite all the successes, achievements, and milestones, cancer has its own agenda. In late 2018, my father suffered his first relapse, and in 2019, he suffered another. He underwent every possible treatment: chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, clinical trials, everything one could possibly do. Despite his courage and the efforts of his medical team, his cancer simply became too much. After 4 years of fighting, on the early morning of January 30th of 2021, my family and I kissed a man who was the center of so much inspiration, affection, and courage goodnight, knowing he would never be waking up ever again. What followed was an entirely new normal. Throughout the pain and grief my family and I were living in, this community, you, were there for us. As Diana, Princess of Wales, once said, "It is the loss of someone which teaches us the worth of others." It was you that came to our doorstep with arms wide open. It was you who sat with us, who cried with us, who were there for us. Parents, teachers, students, alumnus who flew in from different states. It was this community that became so much more than just high school peers. Through your selflessness, your understanding, and your unconditional love, I have learned in the deepest way possible the importance of caring for one another. It wasn't until I lost my best friend when it all began to make sense, when all the pieces started to fall into place. It isn't how much money you make or how nice your car is that creates your legacy. It is your love. Your love will become your legacy. If you choose not to love, you will be forgotten. The moment you decide to be closed-minded, to be selfish and prideful, is the moment you decide to abandon your legacy. This message was my father's legacy. He lives on through the lives he touched and the things he loved. Each and every one of you will be remembered for the love you gave me and my family when we were coping with such an enormous loss in our lives. It is love that will be everlasting. You will live on through things money cannot buy, through your relationships and friendships with others. It is love that will heal others, mend broken relationships, change lives, and transform minds. Prospectors has taught me two very important lessons in the time I've been here. The first being is that everything is temporary, so invest your time in something that is unforgettable. Invest your time in others, not yourself. And the second is that your education is something no one can take away from you. Instead of studying a curriculum, study others, study life itself. Learn about different cultures, different beliefs, and different opinions. You will find an indescribable beauty in the diversity of the world that is reflected back in you. Before I end this speech, I'd like to thank those who've stood by my side and never left throughout the previous 4 years. First and foremost, I'd like to recognize our incredible teachers, our incredible educators, coaches, and especially our remarkable guidance counselors, Scott Eiton, Ashley Tipton, the beautiful, the kind, Norlin Ziesman, and finally my homie, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dr. Thomas LeCardner. You all have been so much more than teachers. You've been our guidance, our mentors, and our strength for so long. It is through your dedication, your patience, and your wisdom that helped us become the leaders we are today. Secondly, I'd like to thank my two incredible brothers, Joey and Leo. Thank you both for always keeping me strong and smiling during my darkest days. Even though I don't say it, I love you both so much. However, even though I only have 2 biological brothers, I'd like to thank my brothers from other mothers, Josh Bauer, Hunter Nichols, Ethan Dudley, Luke Threat, Eli Savage, Zach Bueno, and Baraka. You guys were always there for me. No matter if it was just checking up on me or driving until the early hours of the morning talking about whatever the future may hold for us. You all will always hold a very special place in my heart forever. Thank you to my incredible sisters from other mistas, Elizabeth Rooks, Stephanie, Kylie and Jillian Rook, Jillian Harold, and Zoe Diltz. No matter how late it was at night, you ladies were always available to talk, call, or FaceTime. You ladies were there during my lowest moments, for always encouraging me and giving me the confidence to continue moving mountains. I'd also like to thank my fellow classmates Kendall Kick, Sierra Leopold, Riley, Tyler Stowell, and Meredith Huffman, who've inspired me to continue working toward my dreams, and graduated students Jake Threat, Micah Honey, Riley James, Kat Rooks, Natalie Yoho, Julia Stowell, Ash Diltz, Morgan Butler, Talia, and my teddy bear, the professional hugger, Keith, for always setting the bar and being incredible role models for me for the past few years. But last and certainly not least, I'd like to thank the multiple families that supported me since day one. Earl and Heather Waters, Ronnie and Jeff McKinney, Kylie and Scott Kaiser, the Cooksons, the Rooks, the Ross family, the Rook family. Words cannot express how much you all mean to me. Thank you all for everything you've done since we moved here. Now it's gonna get real personal. I'd like to take a moment and recognize the most beautiful and strongest woman in my life, my mother, Rosanna Ruffolo. You've been the backbone of our family for so long. You've been my #1 fan, my teddy bear, and my best friend since day one. Transferring me to Prospect Ridge was the greatest change we could ever experience. I could not be more blessed to have a loving mother. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to take a moment and remember my unforgettable father. Papa, there isn't a minute that passes when I do not think about you. Though you may be gone physically, I still see you through the natural beauties and contentments of life. I sense your security through the soaring eagles and hawks in the sky, and your eternal peace through the wildflowers you plant for me every morning I miss you. I know you were here, and I know you would be so proud, just like what I promised you during your final moments. And if you just so happen to hear me speaking this morning while you're flying up there, I hope you can hear me say that everything I have done and will continue to do always and forever will be dedicated to you. Know that your absence will never stop me from loving you. Parents, thanks to your love, we have become your legacy. Teachers and coaches, thanks to your education, we have become your legacy. Now let's go create our own legacy. As Zach Sobiak once said, you don't have to find out you're dying to start living. Anything is possible through love. Let's go change the world for the better. Once a miner, always a miner.